There's a lot of mysteries that were unexplained to Darth Vader in the beginning of the Empire. Sidious had constructed everything he had desired to a T, but Vader was left completely out of bounds. It finally came time for Vader to understand how far the plans of Sidious had went. But instead of simply explaining to Darth Vader, he sent him on a goose chase. Vader was told that a stranger had infiltrated the Jedi Temple, and after he valiantly fought this stranger, in the end, right before Darth Vader killed this skilled lightsaber duelist, Palpatine came in and stopped Vader from killing him. Palpatine explained to Darth Vader and to the Grand Inquisitor that he thought they should finally meet. But even though the Grand Inquisitor was kind of angry about this first impression with Vader, he had to accept his destiny. Sidious explained to him that he is the first among the Inquisitors, but the Inquisitors belonged to the Sith. Vader was now left with even more questions. He turned to Sidious and asked the Inquisitors. Palpatine would explain everything. He told Vader to follow him. Both the Grand Inquisitor and Vader followed Palpatine to the Works, the industrial district that we were very familiar with from Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Sidious's dark secret lair. This was a project of Sidious that had been long planned. Waiting at the gate were royal guards. Inside, still, it was littered with royal guards. But down at the base, Inquisitors were fighting and sparring amongst each other. They once belonged to the light side, but now they belonged to the Dark Lords of the Sith. As the Grand Inquisitor jumped down to the small Inquisitors, Sidious explained that these Inquisitors will help with the hunt of the Jedi. The Grand Inquisitor immediately told them to form up. Their masters, in plural, are here. Once he heard this, the eighth brother was befuddled. Masters? They only have one master. That master was the Emperor and no one else. Foolishly, in a way, not knowing when to shut up, he didn't recognize who Darth Vader really was, the second in command. Vader and the Inquisitors did not get off to a good start. Not with the Grand Inquisitor and not with these puny little Inquisitors that Vader could crush with one swift stroke. He didn't even speak to Sidious for a second. He realized what Sidious was up to. He sent him to attack the Grand Inquisitor, but if the Grand Inquisitor had beaten Vader, would he now be at his side? Sidious simply laughed, as he always did, knowing that Vader was not one to question the past. They should always look to the future. The question was there any chance that the Grand Inquisitor could have defeated him? The answer Vader gave was simply no. Precisely, said Sidious, and that's why in the end the Inquisitors belong to Darth Vader. He will be the one to teach these young naive Darksiders what it truly means to serve the Sith and to serve the Empire. Vader naturally was ready to begin immediately. The eighth brother that didn't recognize Darth Vader, didn't even acknowledge him as his master, would soon learn who Darth Vader really was. Vader was loathed by many in the Empire, but it soon became time for him to become a master of sorts, teaching young Inquisitors the ways of the Sith and the way to hunt Jedi efficiently. But not everybody was a fan. The Inquisitors weren't big fans of Vader, especially the Grand Inquisitor. He loathed Vader but couldn't do anything about it. So why was this? Why did they hate him so much? Well, issue number 7 of the Darth Vader comic series tells us why. The Dark Lord of the Sith literally tortured the Inquisitors, and what he explained was a good and valid reason. You have to listen to his reasoning and tell me what you think down in the comments. Vader felt slighted from the moment Sidious introduced him to the Inquisitors. One of them made a comment that they only have one master, the Emperor, and Vader heard this. Here's the main problem though. These little Inquisitors were once Jedi Knights, presumably maybe even Padawans. Because of that, Sidious now doubted that these Inquisitors in this early stage were capable of going up against a Jedi survivor and let alone a Jedi Master. They were not ruthless enough. Well, that's why Vader was here. In fact, Vader was anxious to start right now. He wanted to have these mini students all for himself and teach them a valuable lesson from a Sith Lord. The 7th comic opens up with a chopped off hand as the 6th brother looks on in submission. It was Vader who did that to him. He had slaughtered the Inquisitor with the Grand Inquisitor protesting too, but Vader just didn't care. He knew what he was doing. This will make them feel loss. He will never forget about this loss. None of them will, as now they show us that Vader had tortured every single Inquisitor close to death. Vader would stop just before they died in order to teach them a lesson. This is Vader's teaching method. He was harsh and without mercy. He explained to the naive Grand Inquisitor that Palpatine created this group of acolytes to hunt down and find Jedi who escaped after Order 66. But his people were nowhere close to being ready. Again, the Grand Inquisitor protested. This isn't fair. The Inquisitors are former Jedi. And that was their problem, according to Vader. They fight like a Jedi. They automatically go to the defensive and attack only when necessary. This is soft tactics. This foolish notion has infected all of the Inquisitors' mind. Until they learn how to annihilate their opponent like the Sith, they will never learn how to defeat a Jedi. And for Vader, that meant torturing them until they showed their inner darkness. That was the Sith way. The way Darth Vader adopted his teaching techniques was similar to Darth Sidious's. It is apparent that Palpatine gave a lot of influence to Darth Vader when it came time for him to teach the ways of the Sith and the brutal ways of survival. This is the foundation of which the Sith were formed. If we want to go back and use the primary example of how Darth Vader taught the Inquisitors, it's very similar to how Palpatine was a master to Darth Maul. Sidious and Dooku could see eye to eye, as Dooku was already a formidable Force user, whether it be Jedi or Sith by his time, but Maul was taught from upbringing by Sidious. He was brutally tortured, and that left the young Zabrak with inner and outer scars. He was a dog that was waiting to be unleashed. Maul hated everybody and everything, but learned to tame that anger. In my mind, this is what Vader ultimately thought would be the best way to approach this, since the Inquisitor would go up against formidable Jedi survivors and probably couldn't fare off against these skilled duelists. It was the only way to prep these young Inquisitors and shape them up into form. This was Darth Vader's way. But of course, I would love to know what you guys think about his teaching methods, and who was he inspired by the most? Talk to me down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.